When clients say, "Let me think about it," how do you handle this frequent objection? What do they really mean when they say those words? In this video, I want to explain everything you need to know to prevent this objection and to manage it just in case the client says it at the end of your sales call. In addition, I want to share with you the correct mindset and attitude you have to master to avoid objections like this. My name is Max Ceco and I help you become a high-paid infopreneur. It means selling your expertise or someone else's knowledge to help people solve their problems. On YouTube, I share my 12-year knowledge and experience helping professionals and small business owners create their personal brand online and sell information products and services. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I suggest you subscribe right now and turn the notification on. If you tap on the like button, you will contribute to spreading my message to people like you, so thank you. Before sharing how to manage this objection and the real meaning behind the words I have to think about it, let me tell you how to prevent this objection from the beginning of your conversation. This is a concept I learned from the NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Neuro-Linguistic Programming is a way of changing someone's thoughts and behaviors to help achieve desired outcomes for them. NLP was developed by Richard Bandler and John Grinder, who believed it was possible to identify the patterns of thoughts and behaviors of successful individuals and to teach them to others. The concept is called pre-frame agreement, and it works in this way. At the beginning of the conversation, you could say something like this: Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, the goal of our conversation is twofold. I need to understand your business situation first to determine how and if I can help you reach your business goals. Consequently, I need to understand if we can do business together. At the end of this conversation, you could say three things to me. The first one is yes, and it's perfect. It means we can do business together. The second thing could be a no, and it's fine. No hard feelings. The third thing you could say, and I don't want to hear you say these words, I have to think about it, which means no. I've done hundreds of calls like this one, and I can affirm that when a person says, I have to think about it, it is a no. I want to define this agreement with you from the beginning of this conversation. Sounds good? Thank you. In this specific way, this agreement prevents the objection, I have to think about it. At the same time, people are unpredictable, and they can use different words to say the same thing at the end of your sales call. So, we need to find a proven way to handle this objection, to guide but not force your listener to take the correct decision. Indeed, a closer is a person who helps the listener to make the right decision. Now, it's time to briefly introduce the correct mindset to approach the sales call, because it is fundamental to prevent or manage every single objection. First thing first, do not sound like a salesperson, and please do not chase clients. Listen to me very closely, because I've made this mistake multiple times in the past. During the sales call, you must be recognized as the expert able to guide your potential client from a starting point A to the final point Z. You can do it with the right questions. Indeed, during a sales call, the prospect should speak 80% of the conversation and you, the listener, the other 20%. You guide the conversation. A precious attitude that helped me a lot during a sales call is not to be needy. Your prospect needs you, needs your product or service, and not vice versa. You have to become the person people want to work with. The less salesy you are, the more you sell. Another crucial thing you have to pay attention to is this: let the prospect book the call with you first and not vice versa. This is crucial. Once again, you don't have to chase the client. Prospects have to take the first step. They should fight for your attention. You are precious even if you have no money or if you are starting from scratch. Marketing is a perceptions game, do not forget it. Now, let's see how to handle the I have to think about it objection. If a prospect asks you this question, it means that you have missed something during your presentation or sales call. Most probably, your listener didn't perceive the value of your offer, or it is all related to the price you asked. To dive deep into the real motivation behind this objection, you can say something like this. Mr. or Mrs. Customer, when someone tells me they need to think about it, they mean one of these two things. I'm not interested, or I'm interested but not sure. So, which one is it in your case? 99% of the time, prospects will tell you that they are not sure about it, especially if they booked a call to speak with you, as I told you before. In this case, you can continue the conversation by saying something like this. If you are interested but not sure, most probably it is for one of these three reasons. My offer is not what you thought, or there is a lack of functionality, or an investment issue. Which of these three motivations is the main reason why you are concerned? In other words, what I want you to understand is that with the objection, I have to think about it, your prospects mean one or more of these statements. I don't think you could help me. I don't think you have the right solution. I don't know if I can trust you. I don't see the value if compared to the amount of money you are asking. I can't afford it. You need to understand the piece that is missing. And just to resume, I can say that there are three main excuses behind the I have to think about it objection. Number one, I don't have the money. Number two, I don't see the value. Number three, I don't see the urgency. Most of the time, it is a money problem, especially if you sell a 25-key program. If the prospect doesn't reveal anything but says no, and it is fine, you could continue the conversation with the primary purpose of understanding the motivations behind your conversation. You can say something like this. Mr. or Mrs. Prospect, before closing this call, I have the last question for you. Why did you call me in the first place? What's the purpose of this call? And then stop talking and let the prospect speak. In a nutshell, you are guiding the conversation to elicit the pain points to identify the core problem your prospect has. Then you can focus on the money problem and find different solutions to make the investment easier for the prospect. Closing over the phone is exciting, and it is all about psychology. If you are committed to sell high-ticket products or services, I highly recommend watching this video, The Psychology of a Successful High-Ticket Marketing. What is high-ticket marketing, and above all, what is the psychology of selling high-ticket products or services? In this video, I underlined the most effective marketing strategy and three attitudes you should master if you want to sell high-ticket products or services. So, watch it now!